Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making this beautiful fall card and I'm using products from Hero Arts. So this stencil here is one of my favorites. It is called Fall Leaf Stencils and I have a couple of fall colored inks that I'm going to use to make those leaves very beautiful, and I'm also going to add a little bit of shimmer and sparkle to them as well. So let's go ahead and get into the card. I'm going to use a A2 standard card front, which is 4¼ by 5½, and this is the Dove White cardstock by Hero Arts. And I'm going to place down my stencil, kind of trying to get it as centered as I can. Next, I want to come in with my first color. So I like to work with deep saturated colors, especially when I'm doing fall cards. So I pulled in this really deep red. I'll have all the products linked below in case you guys want to go shopping for some of these colors. First thing I'm going to do is come in on a catty corner so I can get some of the leaves colored. Now I do want to leave openings here so I can add in those other shades. You guys have heard me say before, I usually pick my color palette before I get started. So if you want to see some of the color palettes that inspire me to create, you can head on over to my Pinterest. It's linked down below as well, and you can go to my color combination board. I'm really thinking about doing a series on color palettes. So if you guys would like to see that, let me know in the comments below, and I'll make that happen for you guys. Next, I'm going to clean off my stencil just so I don't have that residue color on my next blending brush. I am using the Hero Arts blending brushes. And I love these brushes because they have white tips and I'm able to see the color of them. Next, I'm coming in with this gorgeous golden yellow. And you can see how beautiful these colors work when I'm creating a fall card. But they will also go pretty even if you didn't do a fall card. If you did Christmas, this is actually gorgeous for Christmas. Now I'm coming in with this green color. Again, a very saturated color. Once again, what I love about this color combination is it goes well for fall, but I would tell you it will work perfectly for Christmas because the yellow that I use, if you apply it really heavily, it almost comes up as a gold shade. So I'm just tapping in that color, making sure that I have all of the leaves colored in. Now I do make sure to like overlap my colors because I just don't want like one leaf to just not have the overlapping of another, because we will see that in nature. We will see green and yellow leaves. We will see red and yellow and red and green leaves. So just keep that in mind. Make sure to go over your colors so the colors kind of coordinate together and they kind of like marry up and you just don't have like a flat thing of color. So next I'm going to come in back on the top. Again, I'm just deepening up the colors, but I do want to add a tad bit of green. I mistakenly put my green tool into my red, but that's okay. I can just kind of knock it back. And then I can put up a little bit of that green onto the top of my leaves. Now I did have brown, I showed you in the beginning, but I chose not to use it. I think just this color palette is going to work perfectly. Next, I'm going to add in that white shimmer spray. This is my favorite white shimmer spray. And I'm leaving the stencil on and I'm going to spray through the stencil. So only the leaves have the shimmer and not the whole panel. Now you could totally do the whole panel, but I like to just kind of keep it centered towards my leaves. Once that is done, I can pull this back and look how gorgeous the leaves are. And look at all that shimmer on there. So pretty. All right, let's go ahead and get into our sentiment. So I'm using cranberry cardstock for this because the cranberry cardstock works perfectly with this blended background. And I'm also using the Hello Autumn from Hero Arts. I mean, look how gorgeous that color palette is. It looks so pretty. So this is just a scratch piece of paper that I had left over from a project that I worked on before. So remember, you guys, if you have any of these scrap pieces, use them for your sentiments. Don't think about cutting down a full panel. It's just really a waste. I'm going to grab out one of the sentiments. Now I had made a previous card and I use the friends or like family sentiment, and I think I'm going to use that as well on this card. Again, you can change up this color palette. I think it will look beautiful in different shades of brown. If you just stuck to brown leaves, or if you just stuck to green leaves, I think it would be beautiful as well. As I am lining up my stamp, I'm realizing that this paper is going to be wider than what I need for my card front. So instead of me just stamping and then trying to figure out like where I cut this down, I'm going to cut this down in advance, because then I know I'm going to be right across the panel of my card, and I don't have to worry about coming back and, you know, trimming each side down to make sure that I'm even. So I'm going to trim that down to a 4-inch, because that's going to be the size of my final card front, which will be the leaves, because I want to have a little bit of a border left around. And I can come back in, I can line up my sentiment again. And once I stamp this, I'm going to realize something. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to use my powder tool to make sure I get off any kind of static. And then I'm going to grab my Versamark ink, because I have seemingly misplaced my clear and watermark embossing ink from the class I just taught at Hero Arts. I was so good, I cleaned up my desk and I don't know what I did with it. So today we're using Versamark. I go ahead and press that down, and then I am going to use gold embossing powder on this. Now, because this is dark cardstock, I really can't tell if I got it all when I stamped the first time. So I'm going to stamp it a second time and just gently rub my tool over it, just to make sure I have a good impression. Now, here is when I realized I might have not stamped this correctly. So once I start adding in that gold embossing powder, and I was a little bit lazy, I didn't feel like digging for my spoon, I'm going to make sure it's covered. But then when I start to tap everything off, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, I don't know if that is straight on the panel. So you'll see me kind of like pause, kind of look, and I'm like, yeah, that does not look like it's straight. Now you could just keep going on, but I wanted to leave this in so you guys see that I make mistakes as well. And I know the recipient probably wouldn't care, but it was gonna irk me. So you can see it's kind of like tilted downward, and I'm like, no, we can't have that. So I'm gonna brush all that off, and we're gonna flip this paper around. That's what I love, where it's 2 sides to a piece of paper, and we're gonna do it on the back. So I went ahead and I'm going to dust that back off, and I'm going to line my stamp back up, and I'm going to restamp this. Again, this happens a lot to us that do videos, and it might be off camera and you might not see, because I don't video all of my cards. Every card I make, I do not video every card. But I can tell you this happens to me a lot. A lot. This looks a lot straighter. Again, the recipient probably wouldn't have cared if it was a little bit off, but again, it was going to drive me insane. So if I'm going to make a card, I might as well, you know, go ahead and clean up the mistakes and just get it over and just restamp it. It didn't take me, but as you can see, a couple seconds to just flip that card over and just restamp it again. Now, since I have it straight on there, I can go ahead and start heat setting this. I do like to start my gun off my paper, kind of test it out on my hand. When it gets a little bit too hot to be in the palm of my hand, I know it's heated. So I like to start from the front and the back to make sure that I start the melting process, so I'm not really blowing all that embossing powder off if you start from the back of the panel. And now you can see I have this gorgeous sentiment that is now straight on this panel. And all I have to do at this point is just trim it down. So I kind of want the top and the bottom to be even. So I'll just put this into my tonic paper trimmer and trim this down. Now I am going to have just a solid white card base. Normally most of my cards are just solid white card bases. So this is also the same paper. This is the Dove White by Hero Art. And I'm using my EK Success tool just to go ahead and score that line down. Now I did think about putting color behind this, because I did do that on a previous card, but I decided to have the white on white. I think just having that white on white allows me to just have a little bit of a border, even though it is white. I still like that white on white combination. I'm just using some glue here. This is my Hero Arts Precision Glue. And then I can go ahead and place that down. Now, if you were making this card and you wanted to add color behind your panel, go ahead. It's going to look gorgeous. I already sent out the other cards, so I don't even have it to show you as an example, but it does have the cranberry border around it. But again, I like white on white, so I'm okay with this. Now all I have to do is put this panel on. And now look how easy this card was. This took me maybe 10-15 minutes to do. When you're doing this, if you're going to stencil more than one card. You already have out your stencil. So make multiples, and then you don't have to pull your stencil out again. So I am going to use that same glue, and then I will put this panel across here. You can totally change up the sentiment if you want, and you can change up your color palette to totally make it a different card. All right, everybody, that is a quick fall card for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Don't forget, our products are linked below, and I'll see you in another video soon. Take care, everybody, and stay safe. Bye-bye.